Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Welcome back to the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about the one step that I need you to take before you head into a calorie deficit for fat loss. So it's super important that we all do that. And if you listened to my episode that aired just recently where I talked about if you're even ready to head into calorie deficit, you know that not everybody's actually ready. So what we need to have is a healthy metabolism that can handle this calorie deficit. A lot of people just don't have it. But today we're just going to take even one step further and talk about one very specific thing that I need all my people to do before we start a cut. Before we get to this topic, I want to invite you to join my Fit and Fueled Facebook group, where I'm sharing lots of good information about muscle building and fat loss and improving your overall health. Because if you know me for a little while already, you know that I'm always about health too. Actually, it's so fun to see when people reach out to me and ask me, can we work together? They often say that I want to do this because I know how much you value health. And yeah, it is true. I've been through a lot of stuff myself, mostly hormonally, all sorts of hormonal issues that were resulting from too much exercise, too little food, messing up my body. So I'm really careful that way. And I don't do like extreme stuff with anybody to get just the weight down. This is not how I work. So I'm really focused on health too. And this is what the Facebook group is about. So if you want to get stronger and fitter and leaner, maybe you want to lose some body fat and do it in a healthy way, then make sure that you join. The link is in the description. And it is, of course, in my Instagram and everywhere else where I am hanging out. So today, let's talk about this one step that you need to take before you head into a calorie deficit. And this is something that I actually, when I first started out as a coach, I didn't always implement that. I didn't even think always that this is absolutely necessary, but now I see that it is. So shall we then talk about what it is? Because it sounds so mysterious, right? So the number one step that you actually need to take before you start fat loss is to build good amount of muscle by doing great workouts. Now, this is important for several reasons. And one of them is that when we have more muscle on our bodies, we are just metabolically stronger, right? We have better insulin sensitivity. We burn more energy. We have more energy, right? So our body just can handle a calorie cut a little bit better. Because if you remember, calorie cut going into a deficit is stress on the body. And when we just have more resources, when our metabolism is more flexible, we can just handle this cut a little bit better and we don't hit a plateau as easily. We don't burn out as easily. So that's the one reason why building muscle is so important. And the second reason, and this is also as important, is that if you take, let's say, a couple of months, let's say 8 weeks or so, it depends on a person, to focus on really feeding your body at maintenance level and doing workouts that truly challenge you and change your body, make you stronger, then when you go into a calorie deficit and your body fat percentage goes down, now you have something to show, right? Because if we take a person who's untrained, right, hasn't done any resistance training, then they can go into deficit and then they could lose body fat, absolutely possible, but they don't get that shape that they wanted to get. They don't have that muscle definition. They don't have the whatever people want, like sculpted shoulder or more defined quads or whatever the thing is, or like jacked back, right? You just don't have these things if the only thing you have done is gone into calorie deficit. And I see this problem fairly often. People just focus only on nutrition and there hasn't been any strength training before, and they just look a little bit smaller, right? Their body weight went down, but they also lost muscle and they also lost fat, and now just a little bit smaller version of what they were before. And this is not the change that they wanted, and they end up usually a little bit disappointed because they thought that the weight loss would look a little bit different. Now, when I said that, I want to focus at least 8 weeks on building real muscle, getting real strong, then a lot of people think that they are already doing this, right? They're like, but I'm doing the whatever, like beach body workouts, or I'm doing those, YouTube videos, and I've been doing them for a long time already. So I'm actually doing strength training, and I can probably go into calorie deficit now and start losing. And I will say that these workouts are not ideal, and you will not get the results that you wanted if you have been doing those tiny little workouts. And I always joke, it's like a little bit of booty band workouts here and there, a little bit of burn. It's not true muscle building. So if you have been doing these tiny little workouts, they're about 30-40 minutes, and they include your warm up and stretching afterwards, and then just small little movements, then this is not the type of resistance training that will get you ready for a really successful and good looking fat loss later on. What you have to do, actually, I'm going to get to these points specifically. What you have to do, how you have to train, is something different. So I'm going to start talk about it in a minute. But basically, you have to use heavier weights. You have to challenge yourself more. So those 30-40 minute small little workouts are not going to do it. Also, when you do, usually I see, which are pretty ineffective, are the split workouts. If you only do them like 2-3 days a week, and then like one of these days is just a little bit of arms, versus when you could be doing 3 solid full body lifting workouts. That full body lifting, solid, heavy weights will get you so much better results than doing a little bit of arms one day and a little bit of booty the other day, and then, I don't know, back and abs on the third day. So I definitely recommend full body workouts instead of these tiny little circuits and things. And speaking of circuits, also these are not something that will get you ready for really that good looking, solid, nice fat loss, because the circuits are usually very fast paced. So things like boot camps and Orange Theory or whatever fast-paced things they are, even if they are like 50 minutes or an hour, you're just sweating, you're burning a ton of calories, but the actual strength aspect is very, very little. There are even no breaks when you get to sit down and rest and recover. So you're going on and on and on all the time without any breaks. And this is not how you build muscle. And I know that many of you listeners are in your later 30s and up to late 50s or so, maybe even early 60s. And that age, perimenopause and menopause, we get there usually like mid 40s and 50s and so on. Then this is definitely the age where you want to focus on muscle building even more. So please don't do these crazy fast-paced, pretty much cardio workouts. And also the little thingies from YouTube that you're doing, they're not super helpful for you either. You really have to focus on putting on real muscle mass. Also think about strengthening your bones. And these things can happen when you lift heavy weights. And I feel like I talk about it so much, but still I see, when I talk to people, they're still doing the workouts that I just described that are just ineffective. So you have to keep in mind that you may have to change your workouts if you want to have really great results later in your fat loss phase. So let's then talk about how do you prepare yourself? How do you build your body up? So we're still talking about that preparation phase where you're building up a lot of muscle so that if a couple of months later you go into fat loss, then you have some great results coming. Right? So what do you have to do? Now, the first thing in this preparation phase is to eat more, or at least eat enough, right? So a typical person would be like 1,600 calories. This is, I feel like lately, the average that I see when I ask people for how long have they, what are their macros like? What are their calories, right? Like, tell me 1,600, 1,650. And it's been like this at least 6 months, if not 12 months. And for most women, this is not enough for muscle building. You got to be really, really tiny person if this is enough for muscle building. And most women need to eat more. And I really recommend that you get your calories up to your maintenance level. If you don't know how much that is, you can get some guidelines from my Lean Ladies Calorie, Protein, and Workout Guide, which is also linked in this description or in the show notes. So get that guide and figure out what your maintenance calories are approximately. And then you have to eat at least that much, right? That will make sure that you have now enough material. So remember, this first phase before you head into fat loss should be focusing on strength training and focusing on healing your body and making it really strong and solid so that it can handle the calorie cut well. And here, you're not going to think about how much is the scale going down. This is not an important thing at all. So actually, if your weight stays the same and you continue lifting, this is a good thing, right? Because you're going to put on some muscle. Don't worry about the weight not going down. Don't worry about that at all. So eat enough, eat around your maintenance, and make sure that the food is good quality, right? That you get also high protein, because high protein diets have been shown over and over again to help with muscle gain. And this is what we want. Now, the next thing that you want to do as you're working on strengthening your body is to just do better workouts and right exercises. And I've described many times already what the good workouts are not like, right? I already did this earlier when I started this podcast. I'm not going to go this over again, but I want to say what are the right exercises that then should be always in your routine. And I would say the big five are never going to go anywhere, right? So the big five are the squat, the deadlift, the overhead press, the row, and the bench press. And you can, of course, do variations of them. So let's say that 1 month you focus on traditional conventional squat, and the next month you focus on a sumo squat, right? It can also be that 1 month you focus on both arm row, double arm, and then the next month you're going to do single arm row. So remember, the variations are totally fine, but these 5 lifts have to, in some shape or form, be in your workout routine. And workout routine shouldn't change every single day, right? That's another thing. So if you're looking for this entertainment all the time, like 7 days a week, you have a different workout every single day, that's not how you're going to get ready for a successful fat loss later, right? So the way I program is usually 3 days a week. I have some programs that are 4, but usually 3 days a week, and you're going to get 3 different workouts, and you're going to repeat the same 3 workouts for 1 month, right? So let's say that you work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You have a workout for each day. And the next week, you're going to do exactly the same workout, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Monday workouts look one way, and then you have the Wednesday workouts that look another way, and then you have the Friday workouts. So you get that point. So 3 different workouts, and you repeat the same stuff for 4 weeks. So don't look for entertainment. Don't look for like this fun factor that a lot of people are looking for. If you want to have fun, you know what you can focus on? You can focus on strength. You can focus on seeing, am I getting stronger? Wow, that's fun. That's cool. That's exciting. That's motivating. That's inspiring. Focus on that. If you're bored in the middle of the workout, put a podcast on or listen to some music, but don't look for that entertainment from your workouts. If you're doing so many different things every single day, I promise you, you are not going to look the way that you want when it's time to head into fat loss and body fat starts coming down. So don't vary your workouts all the time. And one more thing that I want to say is when we're talking about your workouts and getting ready for fat loss later on, then you may have to also reevaluate if the workouts, just because they're free, they're from YouTube or they're from a free app, if the workouts are actually working for you. And I understand that money is always a factor, but most people don't have like money to throw on everything, right? So we have to pick and choose what we spend on. But just to keep doing the workouts that are free just because they are free, even though they're not giving you the results that you want, is there a point in there? And I highly recommend that if you haven't gotten the result that you wanted, that you invest in something and let somebody who knows what they're doing to guide you, right? Because you don't have to figure everything out yourself. I always tell everybody, like my clients, I think you're really good probably at what you are doing. Like I couldn't do your job. So why do you think that you have to be good at every single thing, right? You don't have to know how to program. You don't have to know how to do your macros. This is not what you have studied. This is not what you have learned. This is not what you like. That's your passion every day to research that. It's not that. So why do you think you have to do everything? And isn't it a better idea to maybe outsource that and then purchase a program from somebody who you know is getting their clients decent results? Or of course, if you want to nerd out and if you want to get really familiar with everything, you can learn to program yourself too. It will take some time. And I will tell you, like 5 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm like looking back to my workouts, I'm like, oh my goodness, right? I don't know. But it has taken me many years to learn from really good people, go through some programs, try different things out. And this is how I found like how to actually program. So you can totally learn to do this. But if you don't want to spend all this time, then consider investing a little bit of money and understand that just because something is free online, it doesn't mean that it's always super effective. So Yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of prioritizing, and you are worth it. If you want to get the results that you want to get, then it might be worth it to pay a little bit of money to somebody who knows what they're doing. By the way, it doesn't have to be me. That's not what I'm saying here. What I am saying is that if you can't figure it out yourself, and you're frustrated and you're getting bored and you're getting angry because the results are nowhere to be seen, then that just might be the next thing to do. All right. So muscle building, using all these tips that I said, eat at maintenance, which for most people mean eat more than you currently are doing, do better workouts, do right exercises, don't vary the workouts all the time, and reevaluate, like, is it worth it for me to keep doing the free workouts even if I'm not getting results? So these are the things that you really have to do if you want to have success later on in your fat loss phase. Now, building a lot of muscle before heading into fat loss is not what I actually did when I first started with my coaching. So I'm going to be totally transparent with you. Let's say 3 years ago, when I first got started, I didn't even ask people, I told them, yes, you have to start lifting, but I would allow them to go into calorie deficit even if they had not been lifting before. So I could get like a brand new person who hasn't been to the gym, hasn't been active at all. I see their calories are kind of high, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's room for you to go into cut. And this is what I did. And you know what? It wasn't horrible. They still lost weight, they still got results. But I know now that I tried the different thing, that I have given them at least 8 weeks prior to build good muscle mass and then going into deficit, I see much better results. So I'm encouraging you to be very patient with it and take those 8 weeks usually to really focus on getting strong and see what your fat loss is going to look like then, because I promise you it's going to look a lot better compared to if you didn't strengthen your body, if you didn't lift weights before heading into a fat loss. So this is what I have for you today. I think I mentioned everything that I had to say on this topic, but the main thing here is that muscle mass really matters. If you want to get good looking results and if you want to get healthier results, then spend some time before you head into fat loss, eat enough calories so that this fuels your workouts. Stay patient and then go into calorie deficit, and you notice that you're going to get really good results. All right, this is all I got for you today. Thank you so much for being here today with me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.